Season 2. Are y'all as excited as I am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. The school year is over. We survived the quarantine. We have summer school coming up. You know, we got a lot to discuss. Season 2, we just might get fired. This season is kind of based around a theme of the teachers' lounge, and I had the teachers' lounge thing because I kind of wanted to go more in depth about things, not just in the classroom, but things on the campus as well. You know, and so our topic today is about salary and pay scale, you know, and pay dates and things like that. And not just, we know we're underpaid. That's not really my point. My thing is mostly like dealing with the pay dates, getting paid, you know, the once a month day type things like that. The TEI pay scale scores and the rumors around it not actually being fair. And, you know, why once a month and who decided for us to get paid this once a month and why that day type stuff like that. So let's start with, are there any school districts out there that get paid more than once a month? And I want to ask that to both of y'all. Have y'all heard of anybody else getting paid? Mr. Brown, you say you have?
Question.
I think the Subtle gets paid twice.
Oh, wow. And that's not far from us.
Bi-weekly.
Yeah, that's not far from us at all.
Yeah, I think they get paid bi-weekly.
Where did this come from? Like, who put us on this once a month and that date a month? Because I just...
Well, usually coming from mortgage law, you learn a lot about payroll practices. So with the size of Dallas High State, with the number of employees, doing biweekly pay for everybody would be terrible for HR. They essentially have to double their payroll team in HR. So that's one reason. So just giving them time to process it, right? And then the reason why the 15th is the date, because that's when mortgages are due. Because everybody who pays rent, mortgages are due on the 15th. And a lot of companies are either bankrolled or owned by banks. So when it comes to these payroll rules and regulations come down from the banks, they're bankrolled or owned by. Because the banks know, yeah, we'll give you your money on the 15th because you got to turn around and give it right back to us in your mortgage. So that's why. There's no reason for you to be late on your mortgage. You got paid that day. Might be a little bit too much to ask you to hold it from the first. And it's just that is a lot of the reasons. Usually when you work somewhere and you get paid once a month, that's a payroll issue, and it's about keeping the payroll department as small as possible, giving them enough time to process the payroll. And then the 15th, that's just thanks.
I would go with the 27th or 28th or something like that then, because then you would give a person a chance to be, if it's really about the mortgage and stuff, you give a person a chance to be 2 weeks ahead, you know, where if something happens, where if the 15th happened and you got an unsuspected withdrawal that you forgot and that comes out, there's your mortgage. Whereas too, if you on the 27th, which is before the first of the month for people who are still renting an apartment, you know, which, you know, I think would be majority of teachers anyway. And you give them at least 2 weeks to figure something else out, which I know for myself, I had a part-time job and a lot of other teachers I know had a part-time job, which would give you another chance to get something in place if something was to happen, you know. But I hate it, man. I hate the 15th pay date. I hate it once a month.
I love it. It makes me be a steward of my money. I can't play with it because I know my bills are due the first because I'm renting everything.
Same thing.
I'm trying to transition to mortgage, so it makes me be a steward. You know, like with the 27th, I understand what you're saying, but people don't think that way. They get paid that day. That's when the money's going to go out. And it's just, believe me, before I worked mortgage law, I worked mortgage collections. People who get paid, for some reason, people who get paid in the 20s, I always act like, oh, I ain't got to worry about the 15th of next month in these 20s. I'll take care of it next 20s, not let me go ahead and let me be early. No one pays bills early. People who pay bills early get houses.
Well, not true, because I pay a lot of mine early.
And you'll have a house very quickly.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely working on getting that house.
Believe me.
I pay mine early.
Yeah, and he's definitely working on getting that house.
I'm with Clay. I love it, man. But my situation is a little bit different from everybody else's because I am married. So I don't just get paid one time a month. I get paid 3 times a month, and Sometimes I get paid 4 times, like this pay period.
Oh, May, because May got 5 Fridays in it.
We about to get paid 4 times in our pay period on how
Let
we
me
calculate
borrow
things.
$1,
So
please.
I don't have a problem with it. I like getting a big fat check on the 15th. I'm able to pay everything with it, and I'm good with it, man. So I'm on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it is just me, but I absolutely hate it, man. And I have a lot that I'm trying to do. And so I literally run my budget about 3 to 4 times a week. Like literally, bro, 3 to 4 times a week. Trying to knock out these student loans that have just been a burden. Even with this government forbearance thing, they took 100 points off my credit. And I was like, are you kidding? And when
What?
First off, it was on my Google page that people who have student loan lenders or people who have the loan, were seeing massive amounts come off their credit report. And I was like, well, let me check mine real quick. And yeah, they hit me. I got granted the forbearance, but they also hit me for 100 points. And
I don't know why that happened,
bro.
Your balance goes up. They add a balance to it. So what happens, depending on how many accounts you have, even if they add $5 charges to each account, but say you got 60 loans, so all of a sudden this $5 times 60, your loan amount then went up, and you're increasing on loans you already have, and that hits your credit.
That didn't happen.
Bro,
that didn't happen to me,
that way,
bro.
Because it did not happen to me. I mean, the interest was 0%, so they just froze it. I didn't. Then nothing happened with my credit. It stayed the same, and we just don't got to pay it till October.
Not mine, and mine didn't give me October for. I have 3. The one of them, the one that hit me the hardest, was out until like July, and I was like, "What kind of forbearance is that?"
You don't
see, it was a
yours are not federal.
That one was a private loan though.
That's why.
That's why, right? And that was why. And I was like, "Crap."
Yeah, my private's
I've been trying to throw a little extra at it, to just kind of get it back under control, even through this forbearance. So they've suspended payments for June and July, which is great. And so my first payment is due, I think, at the end of July, early August, or something like that, if I can remember right. And so I'm trying to go ahead and jump ahead a little bit, and then August, when it picked back up, then I'm in a good state. They should give me my points back, and I can move forward again. But yeah, man, this salary stuff, this once a month, man, to be honest, I hate it. I wish they would move it to like the end of the month, like the 27th, 28th, right before the first of the month. But I definitely don't think I'm gonna win that battle. Now this pay scale, the TEI, for those of you who are watching this, the TEI is pretty much supposed to be an incentive for teachers who do good work, who produce results. And when I say results, yes, I'm pretty much, as much as they don't want to admit it, we talking about things like star scores and kid growth and stuff like that. So pretty much if you produce, then you have the opportunity to make more money and hit incentives and things like that. Now, the problem with that is it depends on your evaluator. And I'm going to tell y'all about my evaluator really quick.
Heavy.
Right, heavy, very heavy. And so I'm going to talk about my evaluator. My first year, my evaluator was a very reasonable person. She was really good. But she was so busy because she herself was moving from an AP to a head principal spot. And AP is just assistant principal for those who are watching who don't know. But most of us who are teachers, we know. So she was moving from an AP spot to a head spot. And so her mind was mostly there. So she missed a few of my observations. And so then she was like, oh, we'll reschedule. Okay, that's fine. Whatever we have to do. But every teacher I know knows this is the one class I do not want you to ever come in here, because if you see what I have to do to get them to behave, I may lose a few points on my TEI report card, right? And so, but anyway, the next year, my AP was amazing woman. I brag about her all the time. I probably should email her and just check up with her, but she was the type, she'll come show you what she wanted to see in your room. And she didn't come just teach the I do part of your lesson. She carved out time twice, once in the first semester, once in the second semester. These are the things I'm looking for when I come to your room. And before she came, she gave me like a little mini conference, like kind of just seeing how things were going so far. And then she went into what she wanted to see. And then if I didn't understand, like, you know, how to do something, that's when she came in and she showed me what it is she wanted. So my scale score, I hit the next level because she laid the groundwork so perfect. And so if, you know, it was the 45-minute, the extended, as long as you hit whatever she needed to see, she would see it, make sure she saw it, clarify, and then she's gone. Because she didn't have the time to just sit there in each class for, you know, literally 45 minutes. Hopefully I'm not snitching or ratting on her or anything. That's why I'm not dropping names. But this is what it needs to be anyway. As long as I hit what you need, get out, you know. Whereas to the situation that I was recently in, those observations were just ridiculously too many. Like, they were literally in a week, probably about anywhere from 3 to 5 times every week. And it just was unbearable. And so, but the funny thing, they did more talking at us than they did with us. And I think that's why I was so much rebellion with that group, which, you know, just to be honest, I'm honestly glad I'm out of that place. I'm not gonna lie. You know, like, we just might get fired. I'm just be honest. I'm glad I'm out of that place.
Be honest.
Be honest, you know, and I'm glad I'm out of that place. And the level of support, just, I didn't feel was there. It wasn't real. And we didn't get control of our own lessons anyway. So you grade me off a lesson that was given from people above you. And so I'm giving and executing what you give me. So how can I not score well? Is this not a great lesson that you gave me? Like, that's the part that didn't make sense to me, you know. And I don't mean to get on my soapbox. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to speak on it. But this TEI stuff in our district, I think, needs to be redone, and it needs to be redone by teachers. Since we're the ones who are getting judged, I think it has to be reasonable to us, for us. But when you make a decision for us, about us, but without us, that's ridiculous. And I say that all the time. So and I welcome all that men to comment in those, you know, to leave a comment or whatever you have to say and think we can share it out. You can also email us at WeJustMightGetFired.com. I'm sorry, WeJustMightGetFired@gmail.com, and we might share it out, you know. But I want to hear from y'all. What do y'all think about this TEI scorecard stuff here in our district?
Man, I go. I just been teaching. This is my second year. When I seen the TEI, I mean, I got excited about the numbers, but then just seeing what it takes to get there, it's you know, it is, man. My first year, man. I've only had 2 evaluators, so my first year, bro. I read a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of personal growth, things that pertains to that. And I was taught when you just get into something, you have to empty your cup, all right, and just absorb everything. So that's what I did. Every time I got observed, he told me what to do. I was like, okay, I'm gonna implement it, all right, and I did. I feel like I did that every time. I feel like I knew my content, all right. I passed my test the first time. I knew it. And I felt like I deserve. I mean, I did an okay job, even though the scores didn't show. I feel like I did an okay job. But man, when it came back, when I tell you, man, and I can be transparent, man, I was in the red, man. I feel like I got hold, for real.
So okay, so I'm glad you said that.
I feel like I got hold.
So you did everything that you felt you were supposed to do. You checked all of the boxes.
Checked out. He couldn't get in front of my class and show me what he wanted. Like you said, your second evaluator did. Nah, that didn't happen. But I did what he told me to do though. But go ahead.
Well, no, that was my point. You know, like, all right, so you know, you felt as if you checked everything off the box. Did he give you a conference explaining, you know, what you missed on?
He gave me the conference. He gave me a conference every time. Like I would come to him and talk to him. He was like, man, I feel like you're doing a good job.
How come my paycheck
it's your first year. Oh, that's what this is it. He said, he was like, you're doing a good job, man. You're great. You're great with the kids. You have a great way of vibing with them, things like that. And I was like, okay. I thought I was gonna get progression one, like a normal teacher should. I thought I was gonna get progression one. But when it came back, I tell you right now, if you look at the points, your evaluator by yourself can get you into the next level.
It's the evaluator
on your own, on their own. Without the school score, without the star schools, without anything else, without the kid survey.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's the evaluator, right? One thing that bothered me so much this year about my evaluators, they would say things like, well, if I was you, this is what I would have done. I'm not you. I need you to help me get better doing what I do. Mm-hmm. I'm not you, so I'm not going to focus. I'm not going to process and handle it the way you do. But if I still check those boxes, grant me what I'm supposed to be granted. Like that, you coming to tell me, oh, if I was you, I would have did this, or I would do it this way. How is that helping me grow? Mm-hmm. Help me hone my skills, not yours.
One more thing before you go, Clay. And it was like when we would have the conferences, it was like you're a first year teacher. I mean, you can't be expected to get this many points. So I'm like, are you intentionally doing this because I'm a first year teacher? Or like, am I getting the 0.5s?
That's a good question.
Just because I'm a first year and I don't pose to be able to get higher? That was something I thought about too.
That's a really good question. I think they do use that first year as a way to hold you back. Mm-hmm. I really do. Now, I did substitute teaching for about 2 years before I got in, and I was pretty heavily involved as a substitute because I did the long-term stints. So I'm not saying I'm a perfect teacher. I'm not saying I know it all, but I'm always trying to find out a way to do something better and implement it. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like, yeah, they steal one from you on that first year. But Mr. Brown, go ahead.
Yeah, and you came in with a lot of knowledge that a lot of first-year teachers don't have. I remember first of all, it's my second year. Remember, I started in the middle of a year. I think I've had 3 or 4 different evaluators already.
Oh, wow. See, that's not fair.
First evaluator walked out on me in our second planning meeting. And it was nothing I did. It was an email or a text she got from someone in that school. I have an idea from who, but I ain't here for that because I want to keep my job. I ain't trying to get fired for this story. And she looked at me, and I think she looked at me and was like, this work I got to do with him, this text message I just got here, this email I'm looking at here, retirement sound good right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, she hit the retirement button. I seen it in her face. Like, she came in there with so much, like, I'm going to get you right. I'm an old school teacher, but I see you got some good, I've been reading your lesson plans. I'm going to get you right. Like, not, I'm going to turn you into me. I'm going to show you how what you have given me is going to work, but you got to do it a certain way. In just 90-minute planning period, we made it 10 minutes in. She made some suggestions. I said, okay, what about this? She said, good point. Let me look at this real quick. I'm going to get back to you because I need to think about what you're doing. She's like, because it's not the way I would do it, but it could work. I just need to figure out how. Cool. That was the last conversation we had. That was it.
Well, see, and you know what's crazy? What's also when we talk about results as well, my first awakening of realizing that this TEI could be a problem, it was my first year, I think, because, it's off results and scores and things like that. And then they trickle in some other things to kind of, motivate you to say, oh, it's not all about that. That's fine. I appreciate that. But I had, and I may have shared this with you guys offline, I had a B average student. He walks into my classroom this day of testing, and this wasn't like the STAR test. This was just a district test, the benchmarks. And so he was like, hey, Mr. M, do you have something to eat? And I said, no, I don't have anything. And he was like, well, can I go to the cafeteria? And I was like, well, the cafeteria is closed right now for breakfast is done. They working on lunch now, And so we had a test coming up, and I was like, go ahead and sit down and have a seat. And normally I keep some snacks in the room, some graham crackers or something, And so, he sat down to take his test like normal, but he scored like a 40-something on his test. And no matter how he always averages a B, no matter how good of a student he was, at that moment, all he was focused on was eating. And he was hungry. When I tell you he blew off that test, and it was a slap in the face, because it was like, that's not my fault. I can't control that, but it showed up on my reports. And it's a question that I'm being asked in the meetings. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? That was the first time I realized, oh, this TEI stuff flawed. And they say, oh, well, that's just one anomaly to the thing. No. There are other things that are out of our control that will potentially limit us from really growing from, as Mr. McMillan was saying, going from progressing 1 to progressing 2. To be honest, I can't even remember mine anymore. I think I am somewhere around 1 or 2. And this was the year that I was hoping to move up to that next one. Being at a new environment, my main thing was just to learn. See, like you said, I emptied myself so I could, get some things poured into me being in a new environment. But my problem at this location was, you can't feed me a pile of poop and tell me it's chicken. So it didn't work out well at all. But yeah, man, that was the first sight that, this TEI stuff could be flawed.
Oh, I
do we have an alternative though?
My first finals, so remember, started right before finals. First finals, you don't administer yours, you administer someone else's. It was the second test of the day. And apparently the kids thought they only had one test a day. That second test, I guess they gave it all up the first one. When I tell you, every kid came in that class, put their head down. So for an hour and a half, I fought with them to not sleep through this English test, full of reading. And my friends, and I worked with that teacher, and those scores were not indicative of the work she did in class. And they're like, oh, it's just a snapshot. Cool. Those scores led to so many changes in her class the next coming semester, to the point where she didn't even have half her kids. Then they score on a scar, and they barely made it. And I'm looking at this teacher, who was a beast. And the kids they left with her grew double digits. And I'm talking high double digits, 20, 30%. But we're still under 60. And they're looking at her like, well, your kids didn't hit the mark. Like, you gave me kids that were 20s. They scored 50s. Can we not talk about that? TI does not reward that. It rewards growth, but only really rewards growth over passing. It doesn't growth like I get some teens and I make them take them to 60. Oh, good. They still fail.
Well, see, I think it's based off some campus. Our campus, or this campus I just left, so glad to say that, they were telling us to focus on the growth, because it was a campus that was they
scores weren't gonna matter.
Yeah, they weren't.
But your evaluator is gonna make up that for you, right? And then also that goes on your school score. And like, it's one thing to be at a CD school and then your kids grow like that. It's another thing to be at an AB school and they're just weak in this subject, or because we get kids from your campus and we weak in an area, and it's like, ooh, we got to make this, they hide here and they hide here, but right here is a problem. And so
I can tell you that they're definitely weak in English. Coming from our campus, they are definitely weak in English. We dealt with a lot of kids. We dealt with a lot of kids who were not American, like they were not born here, and their parents weren't. So just like a lot of kids across the district, they speak English at school every day, but when they go home, they don't use it at all. So it was almost useless at some point. But that was the part that was kind of frustrating, because it was like, okay, well, I can do these. I can get this kid to grow in certain ways, but I need you to give me the keys to my classroom to do whatever extremity I feel is necessary. And we just did not have that capability. But all right, anything before we get out of here?
Season 2?
No.
Season 2, man.
I don't like to complain about stuff and not have an alternative. I mean, I'm willing to play the game. I just gotta know all the rules and like know how to finesse. I can play the game with TEI.
I don't have enough knowledge
eventually get there
to give you an answer. I'm gaining, and hopefully maybe a season from now, I'll be able to tell you the answer for TEI. I don't have it right now.
All right,
once I hit proficient 1, I ain't gonna care no more.
No, because I don't want nobody to be like me and be in a rising position and really not know how to rise. Other than, I see that my evaluator is the key to the castle. So now I'm gonna go out here and finesse. I want that. I want to bring in new teachers, and they feel the need to become better teachers, not finesse.
All right, well, we're in with that. We Just Might Get Fired. Season 2, episode 1 is underway. I am your host, Mr. M. I got Mr. Brown. I got Mr. McMillan here as usual. Just back to the regular squad. We will see you in the next one.